Hmm. I like how I barely even explored this island still. I thought these were all going to be like um, bounties, but it looks like it's just exploring. Oh my god, I can afford a junk. I thought these were more expensive. But I have a submarine now, so why would I want a ship? I mean, okay. Uh, oh, so rice is an infinite thing. Okay. Got rice. Let's just do like 150 water. Get a bunch of lager. Got rice. We got loaves. What are we doing on food? Just get these just in case. And then get rid of those. Get rid of these duplicates. That an exceptional shield? Yeah. If I know I have the superior, I like to sell the inferior, but a lot of inventory management for right now, and I don't feel like doing it at this moment. I'm gonna keep the party as is going into the end game. I kind of like how this is working out. I like having all those summons. Okay. Wish this would have been a bit better so I could put it on her. I guess I could still keep it, give it to her, but I don't know. The one she's wearing now is awesome. So I think I got her killed a couple times. Eh. Alright, so the end of the game is supposedly not as hard as the DLC was. So I'm going to switch back to Veteran. And then cry like a child who got his toy taken away when I find out that I was completely wrong in that assumption. Not so much assumption as in just catching the drift of what people were talking about in the forums. Okay. Oh, wait. That transaction go through? That didn't go through, did it? God. And it went to everyone's inventory. That is not the first time I've done that. I forgot to hit trade, and I hit exit. Why am I so bad at video games? Actually, no. Keep that. Back to the stash. God. We'll make it to Kaizo as soon as I figure out how to sell goods. Man, I already did this. Alright, screw it. I'm gonna come back and do this later. Alright, to Okaizo. I just came here to stop for, like, goods, like, enough water and whatever to get us there. which I have more than plenty now. And let's have good food and stuff so they're happy. We be just happy on our way there, please. Two of your crew members are arguing on deck. Okay, we'll throw them both over. I don't care. An argument from the deck pulls your attention away from the gentle rocking of the ship and the smooth expanse of the blue on the horizon. Half of those fish were floating belly up, cries Rumdum. Better we throw out the whole catch than end up with rotted bellies. They looked alive enough when we hauled them out. Shield Sister Delia retorts, gesturing violently at the pile of fish on the deck. Fish die when you pull them out of the water. That's what fish do. Check for signs of disease. Show the fish the fitness of them. Definitely gonna be you. It's gonna be 16 and she has 15. Success. There are no signs of discoloration, open sores, or bloated bellies. The fish appear perfectly healthy. Told you it wasn't dangerous. Shield Sister Delia's gloats, arms akimbo. What do you think, Senior Mittens? Senior Mittens approaches the barrel, sniffs at the fish, and snaps one up, presenting it to you as if a gift. Delia laughs heartily. Look, looks like we've got one crew member approval. Okay, we're in no position to throw away fruit. Stow the fish in the hold. See, Rumdum. The captain knows we can't throw away perfectly good meals. Rumdum sighs. If we take these on, Captain, there's every chance. Stow it, Dahlia barks. The captain words his law. Let's get this fish below. The pair heave the barrel and move it toward the hatch, leaving you to return aft. Okay, so I've gained supply of silverfin. Cool. Hold up a second. Are we near a... I just realized my dudes are pretty dead. Let's get back to Nekataga real quick. I know we just left, but I want to stay at an inn, get some rest, and then we'll head up there. I've got two guys that if they die one more time, or they go down one more time, they'll die. That's not ideal. Alright. Go to the wild mare.
Watch me go.
Now, what can I do for you? See anything you like?
Private dance room. We're just gonna assume that we slept in that room. We bought it. We didn't buy any dancers. We just slept in that room. Yep. Okay. He was gonna say something. Okay, so head towards the exit. All right, I see. All right. Head north to Kaizo. Man, the fact that I've played so long, I've done so much, yet it feels like look at how much map I have not explored. This game had a lot of content. A lot of content. Honestly, I think like chasing people down with the bounties is still one of my favorite parts. Ooh, there's a storm. You know, and the thing is like the fact that I only went with the Deadfire straight off. That probably changed what islands I visited. I bet if I would have worked the other crews too, or the other companies, I would have seen more. What the hell? There's plenty of ocean to sail and many lands to explore, but what lies ahead of you dwarfs them all. Should you choose to sail on, you suspect there will be no return. Not to the Deadfire you have known, you've come to know. All right, let's go back. Something tells me this is endgame. Pre-endgame. Pre-regular. So I know it's the regular game. Yeah. Continue. Continue forward. Set a course through the channel and into the uncharted turbulent seas. Andra's mortar rages on the horizon, a vast wall of roiling clouds and rain, punctuated by the silver flicker of lightning. The wind pushes against you, as if to ward whatever lies beyond from submarine's approach. Submarine leads the fleet, crashing through the turbulent waters like an axe through armor. God's alive, Bodil mutters, staring up at the storm. Little Luca blinks as the blackening sky. Knew an odd salt once who claimed the mortar were the edge of the world. I called him a fool. Now, though, the navigator's head shakes sadly. Now I ain't so certain. Head bowed slightly, Aleda smiles. Today is as good as any to learn what the gods have in store for us. Shit, Captain, one of the hands cries hostily. Hostile vessel inbound to the forward port. With a shake of the head, Bodil emits a grim chuckle. Suppose it'd be too much to ask to be let alone out here. The inverted crown flies atop the mast of the Motley's Principia fleet, along with a dozen other pennants and color representing a dozen different pirate lords and ladies. Their shanties are audible even against the storm. Oh, they're not happy with me right now. The approaching fleet numbers at least as many ships as you own, and maybe more. Bodil frowns against the wind. The fleet's turning, Captain, setting their gun ports against the enemy. Hands look to you for the station. Badal eyes hold yours. The crew stands ready. What are the orders, Captain? Inspect the fleet. The Royal Deadfire Company dispatches over a dozen ships to support your cause, each a variable masterwork of wood and metal, heavily armed and armored. Soldiers stand at the attention on each junk, their rifles at their shoulder, while hundreds bronze cannons gleam from within the ship's gun ports. Yeah, there's a reason I picked these guys. The Rakupa warships, each sleek junk boasting a panoply of long-barrel cannons, follow close behind. Study the enemy. The patchwork pirate fleet charges aggressively towards you. Its ship's ragtag menagerie of flash galleons and sleek dhows, stolen junks, and mercenary slopes. You count 30 vessels, give or take. Look over your companions. Olath is paging through his grimoire, a look of calm concentration on his face. He meets your eyes and smiles faintly. Jody raises her lantern before her like a shield of light, flares once brightly in response, and she nods to you, ready. Despite her bravado, you notice slight trembling in her hands. The cage of the lantern rattles as Jody waits for the battle to begin. Alright, all hands to the battle station. We're joining the fray. The deck vibrates as cannons fire erupt, from enemies and allies alike, filling the air with hot, hissing metal and banks of thick gray smoke. Badal grasps your arm and thrusts a finger out towards the sea. They're coming at us, full sail with the wind at their back. A lumbering dhow, decked with a medley of colorful flags and bristling with cannons, bears down on you at high speed. The battle-scarred Principe crew shout across the gap, waving cutlasses and spitting ale over the rail. At the helm, the distant wink of gold tooth reflect either the captain's triumphant smile or savage grimace. You can't tell which is worse. Bring us about. All hands prepare for combat. fight. Chichibuk points to a dark spot on the distant horizon. Captain, a vessel approaches. You squint in the horizon and see an unfamiliar color snapping in the breeze. The ship draws near and its crew throws open the gun ports. Advance. Give no quarter. Charge. Our ship chews through the water, barreling down the waves, and surges up on the face. Sea sprays drenches the main deck. With a deafening crunch, submarine and reckless prophet collide, sending shards of wood and enemy sailors flying. With a rousing cry, your crew throws the grappling hooks and boarding planks across the gap between the two ships. They stream on the ship's decks, weapons at the ready. The stunned enemy crew rally and meet your sailors with a resounding boom of gunfire and clangs of steel on steel. Cool. They never got good at fighting the ships. So why do it when we could just fight? Oh man, that is not enough for you guys. I'm sorry. This is gonna be too easy, and I forgot to turn up the difficulty. Alright, good luck, dudes. Alright, go ahead. Go ahead and make him happy, or boost him. Do an add, or summon. You summon yours. Cody, you summon yours. I'm just gonna let this fight out. This is gonna be way too easy. Even if it was on veterans, I'd probably, yeah. This is too easy. I'm gonna change the difficulty back now. I know it's not gonna change the battle, but oh, I can't. Anyway. Oh man, are they not gonna let me do it because it's endgame? I might have to go back. Alright, take all and continue. We literally could fight every ship. They have 30 ships. Let's do it 30 times. Whatever. Rumble cannons provides a steady percussion accompanying to the choral screams of dying. The deck pitches and rolls with twists of the sea and smoking drifts lazily across the choppy waves. Andra's mortar turns to the east, the shifting clouds and the shimmering curtains of rain. Fixes on you a frown. Ain't over yet, Captain. Mate gestures out across the water. A pair of colossal galleons flank Hazanu's Kara armored junk. As the mercenary ship close on your ally, they pound the smaller vessel with a repeated rounds of cannon fire. Ogre Corsair wave heavy clubs from the galleon's deck, impatient to board the junk. Captain, the Hazunua is about to be overwhelmed. Maya grips the railing and looks at you. Bring us about. Have the cannons readied. We're taking one of these galleons. The grim nods, your mates snap to their task. Spin the wheel as it calls with cannon. Submarine turns, barreling towards the ogre crewed galleons in hope of offering your allies some reprieve. Now let's continue on. Ship draws near. Okay, give no quarter. Charge. Your ship chews through the water, barreling down. Okay, the same thing from before with the rousing cry. Make a steal. Yeah, you were saying. You said like the rounds were too quick? So, buff the pet. Drop your summon. Drop your summon. And drop your summon. Alright, let's do your defense. at little Frodo. Running up and stabbing people in the back. 102. Good lord, what? Who did that? Little Frodo. He's grown so strong. Too bad he's never that strong in battle. Yeah, we need to raise the difficulty back. You know, I started out going the pirate path and I ended up going with one of the companies. It was not the pirate's life for me, unfortunately. Not this time. Okay. Rising winds do nothing to clear the obscure haze of choking smoke. Popping gunfire punctuates the timpani roll of cannons, and the shouts of desperate sailors vie with the screams of the dying. Enemy and ally alike disappear into the morass, which glows from within, illuminated by burning wrecks. Ship looms out of the darkness to port. Its crew call warning in their desperate attempt to avoid a collision. They fail, and the submarine heaves as the enemy vessel slides along its broadside. Another craft appears directly ahead, with no room to maneuver. Submarines grind up against it, sandwiching between the two ships. You're trapped. Yes, we're being boarded. Pouring out of the haze, pirates swing from the rigging and leap from the deck, screaming their loathing for you. Okay. We counted 30 ships. We've taken 2. We've got 28 to go. Assuming our allies don't take care of anything. Dude, this is a dope looking battlefield, and it's only us. Weird. That's fine. We will do a summon here. Okay, I thought he had his melee weapon out. You will do your summon here. You will do... I want to empower this summon. I want to see what it's like. Do that here. And get your pet going.
I don't think so.
My goodness.
Can't do it.
Spiritual ally, it's still same duration. I guess he might be stronger.
After him.
Wasted effort.
Yep, still a walkthrough. So, like, what would you compare Rocket League to? Like, what kind of genre is it? Is it just like an arena shooter? Submarine limps away from the broken wreck, gathered behind and break free of the bank of smoke. In the distance, Andra's mortar rages, nothing between you and your goal. Aft, the Princess Sen Petrena lie scattered and broken, remaining pirate vessels fleeing west towards Mogren's Teeth and dunnage beyond. Bodo claps you on the back. We did it, Captain. The captain did it, more like, little Lucas says, wiping away the sweat and soot with a rag. We were just along for the ride. Rumdum chuckles, but glances towards Andra's mortar. Now that we're out of this, not that we're out of this yet. Still, Bodo shouts, 3 cheers for the captain. 3 cheers for the submarine. The crew shouts, hollers, howls, and whoops. Morale gain 15. The crew earned 4 sailor experience. Audra the Mad gained a rank. Cheers claps into cries of horror as the surface of the water explodes upwards, tearing a nearby ship in half and throwing sailors screaming into the sea. A creature rises from the wreckage, a monstrosity of slick Audra and gleaming metal. Falling to hands and knees, Allah prays to God that listens. Juana and Iguithin from Andra to Raiku. The metallic monstrosity unleashes a beam of amethyst light that shears a second ship in two. Beetle places a hand on your shoulder. Had the god's own luck getting this far. Submarines don't stand a chance against whatever that is. Our only hope is to the storm. Watcher, I think the beast is eyeing our pals in charge. For everything we've got left at that thing, maybe we can give them a chance. The surface of the water bulges, then bursts, and then with a roar, the crash of the surface, a dragon explodes from the water. Familiar scales form of Seraphalafis sweeps low, wings outstretched just above the water-tipped waves, before spraying its briny breath over the metallic monster. The monstrosity on the sea dragon. Okay. The monstrosity turns on the sea dragon, and they slam into one another, tearing at each other with tooth and fang. Essence pours off the pair as they pound one another with their abilities at point blank. I'm really glad I left him alive. Go. Now, while I hold the attention of these beings. Seraph? Yep. His voice echoes among your thoughts. Our debts are cleared, Watcher. Riddle turns from the carnage. Captain, we might not get another chance. All hands look to you. Alright, Aethys threatens every... We've come too far. There's no turning back now. At the chatter, all hands brace for storm. That's what I like. Riddle salutes. Aye, Captain. All hands to station. Keep your eyes to your work. We're going in. Andra's mortar looms before you and above you, dominating the whole of the world. Rain begins to fall. The storm of Andra's mortar encompasses the visible horizon. Hurricane winds roar like an imprisoned beast, bellowing with enough force to warp the very sea. Past the curtain of rain and above the swell of the waves, you can just barely perceive the outline of colossal Adra pillar. You initiate the dive process with a mixture of hope, apprehension, and disbelief. Air hisses as the ballast tanks fill with water. Groans of pressure emanate from somewhere in the hull, but your submersible gradually dips beneath the waves. You close your eyes and place your trust in the Ratuian engineering. Then, somewhere in the tight quarters, a bolt goes flying like a popped button and hits the far wall with a loud ping. All is silent. Slowly but surely, the propeller spools to life and carries you forward, beneath the storms. You navigate around the trunks of massive Adra pillar rising from the seafloor, but the work of crossing Andra's mortar is accomplished with ease. Finally, you spot the shape of a bulky landmass ahead. It's Okaizo. You let out a sigh of relief. Ornate spires reach out from the island, hinting at the city within. Not all of Okaizo was weathered the millennia with equal grace. Other structures jut and lean out of the surrounding shallow, making the waters around the island impassable by ship. You resolve to take a skiff to the rest of the way. Dope. We're at Okaizo. Oh no, this is the map. Dang it. I'm still gonna turn up the difficulty and hopefully get a little bit pushback later, but here's not gonna be it. It sucks that I can't change it right now. I'll change it after this fight.
Sounds about as useful as a bump.
Okay, try to grab that thing. I know it's kind of weird, but no, that's not happening. Let's get these summons out. And then I'm gonna have you roll back here.
Quick, toss me something else.
And do a consecrated ground. Buff senior mittens.
After him.
Okay. Lightning ball here. Do death ring.
That was about as useful as a pickle.
All right. Defense. And we'll do. What is this spell again? I keep using it. I forget the name of it. Symbol of Aethys. Right. We'll mark this one. Since he's close, go ahead and try this on him. Use your lightning bolt. Okay. Drop this. Cool. Alright. That's done. Can I switch it? Thank you. Alright. So this particular... Okay, this map's not that big.
Tell me. As you wish.
The pile of debris hums with ancient power. Faint echo of soul energy blinks at you from the depths of the wreckage. Probably should have sold all that stuff. We could do legendary. So let's enchant yours. Do yours too. We'll stop there
Of course.
for now. I guess we can start at the Grand Promenade. Slow down.
I suppose we're heading straight into that.
I'll take care of it.
Erosion has softened the bronze features, giving the proud statue brooding air. Ascending into the city would be suicide with the relentless storm raging on. A furious storm obscures the sprawling city below, but you can make out the shape of a distant spire reaching up from the flooded ruins. Spirit winds tug on your soul with insistence, like a stern hand trying to pull a cloak from your back. You recall the last time you encountered the Baywak. Or Baywak? I think it was called Baywak. It feels a lifetime ago. Turn on your companions, so here we are. You look to those who accompany you this far, who risked everything to face the confrontation ahead. You're looking thoughtful, Aloth. Aloth looks at the sprawling ancient city.
5 years ago, you controlled the destiny of thousands of souls in Sun and Shadow.
He pauses, considering the vista.
But the choice you make today shall define the fate of every living thing in Aora.
He turns to you, curiosity shining in his eyes, but there's something else there. Pity. I have a responsibility to do right by the world. I'll make the best decision I can.
I know you will.
He smiles.
I know you'll choose wisely. And no matter what happens, it's been an honor journeying with you. Again.
Puts his hand on your shoulder, meeting your gaze with a fond smile. Turns back to regard this great city before you. Something on your mind, Jody.
We gonna do this or what?
Jody licks her chapped lips, dark gaze narrowing as she takes the sight of an ancient city's ruins. raised high. Her lantern casts hard shadow over the plane of her
If
face.
it's all the same to you, Watcher, I'd rather not miss the moment my God brings the darkness down upon us. I want to see Gone become the true deity of death.
No matter what happens with Aethys, you got my back, right? She doesn't answer for so long that you think she's not going to. She then taps the blood-stained sickle against her thigh.
Sure, you can trust me at your back, even if you're going against my God.
But the words sound hollow, like an obvious lie.
Tell me, Watcher, can there be a God of light and birth if souls themselves can no longer be reborn?
Think we can reason with him.
It didn't work so good at Mogren's teeth, now. But sure, we can try to sway my God's will again. Well, if anyone could do it, I reckon it'd be you. I thought it'd be different how it turned out, but I couldn't dream of any other way.
Jody sets her jaw grim.
Now then, shall we go face my God for one last time? Find out what it is we can or can't do in these end times. Whether we're meant to wither or thrive.
Yep, let's go.
Consider me your second shadow.
Cool. Ah, this beats the dark cupboard, eh, Facina?
Hey, you make a compelling point. If I must choose between unending drudgery and a certain, if interesting, death, I might just pick death. Ecosi if I don't leave an optimistic impression. I am glad to have come this far with you, Casita. Our chances of survival are as high as they are ever likely to be. May that give us the courage we need to take the next step forward.
She nods. I think we're as ready as we can be. Let's go.
I'll handle it.
Any engraving reads, in the memories of Duma, Depois, Takumi, Nagati, first chosen. The Andra Spire. But the device atop the tower spins wildly, blurring revolutions. The air around it is still and calm. You stand in the eye of the storm, which has cordoned off Andra's mortar from the rest of the Aora for thousands of years. You see an antique control panel, its lever engaged in position of activation. Something about this place echoes with ancient awareness. This corporate feelings of longing and distress reach out to you. Your mind is assaulted with complex symbols and postures, most of them beyond your reckoning. As the sensation pulls away, you recognize that it left behind knowledge of water shaping as it existed long ago. Armed with its memory, a capable water shaper might wield the power of their ancestors. Oh shit. Takeo should find this interesting. A deep percussion shakes the tower by its roots. Somewhere in the obscurity of the storm, Aethys rears back his fist to deliver a mighty blow. The control panel has weathered millennia better than the rest of the city. A layer of dust covered its elegant glass tubes and engraved copper levers, which appear both intact and fully functional. Deactivate the machine. You grip the largest of the lever and bring it up to its starting position. The vibrating of the machinery gradually slows and turbulent winds grow calm.
The machine controlling the storm winds down. The clattering of its machinery settles into a low whir and then, at last, hiccups to a halt. Beyond the tower, the black, roiling clouds of Andra's mortar roll away from the ancient city of Ukaizo, with only a tired sigh of wind to see them off. And on that last breath of
Let's
wind,
find it real quick.
comes to you a familiar sound. The ring of a bell.
I want to do this so I can pump up the volume in my room. I want to wake the neighbors.
The bell's ringing is soft, not the clangor and torrent you've grown used to. It calls to your soul, and your soul yearns to follow it. Your soul flees from your body and into the beyond, chasing that sound. It leads you at last to Bareth's realm, to that cold platform and room of endless doors.
Watcher, your journey nears its conclusion.
The pallid knight stands before you, her gaunt face impassive.
Let's make this quick. I got an engagement. I'm gonna say nothing. I'm gonna go stoic again.
Soon you will confront Aethys for what will likely be the final time, and you will do so as the Herald of Bareth, the only creature on the face of Eora to whom he will listen. Remember that.
The pallid knight inclines her head to you, black hair hanging lank in her face. She steps back and cedes the floor to Helia with a small, resigned sigh.
If Aethys truly intends to go through with his mad plan to destroy the Wheel, a generation's worth of souls will be trapped in the in-between. So many would suffer. How can Aethys be so cruel? He cannot just abandon them. Aethys must help the Kith find a quick solution.
Abaddon strides forward.
Aethys thrust this crisis on the Kith. They did not bring it upon themselves. Their only mistake was entrusting us to watch over them.
Yes,
Who will help them
that's very true.
rebuild their world now?
Aethys will reveal every secret of the gods. Will Kith be able to change the established order if they have no wonder to inspire them? Aethys must help them resolve this quickly, lest every one of Eora's few remaining mysteries be laid plain.
Aethys' obligation to help us fix what he is about to break.
Coddled children learn nothing that is not spoon-fed to them. With the wheel destroyed, Kith will tear themselves apart. It is the gods' duty to prevent that happening, lest they doom us all. And as Kith must be ruled, so too must the gods. I say that if Aethys is so eager to throw down the mantle of power and step aside, I shall take my rightful place as Queen of the Gods again.
Surprise, surprise.
Kith are strongest when they follow our lead, and we are strongest when we lead in turn. United in purpose with the gods, Kith can accomplish things that without us, they could never have even begun. They must be shown their boundaries to surpass them.
Kith will not solve Aethys' puzzle on their own. And without an established order to fight against, the bonds that bind them dissolve, and they fight amongst themselves.
Boudica doesn't want them to solve it. She wants to be queen over all.
Boudica's firm hand is but the motherly smothering of Helia by another name. Mortals should have no special advantages. Only once Kith have striven to improve themselves through trial will they truly know their measure. Kith must suffer to find their strength if they are to survive the world into which Aethys drags them. Our intervention in your struggle would be a cruelty and counter to our purpose.
He lets his words hang in the air for a moment.
I don't have to do anything. Narrator.
Level with your own.
Indeed. Kith must discover for themselves what it is they are worth, and of what it is they are capable. What we do for them, they do not learn for themselves. Trial breeds ingenuity. If our work of generations was not in vain, Kith will succeed in spite of Aethys' actions. I have faith in Kith's ability to meet Aethys' challenge. Do not mistake my words for indifference, Watcher. They are born from a fierce belief in your potential, not a refutation of it.
Aethys wouldn't do this if he didn't agree with you. Maybe we're not doomed after all.
And yet you came to Ukaizo with only the Rawatayans at your back. All that Kith stand to lose. And even then, your leaders could not join hands, squabbling instead over prestige and resources. You believe that will change when my final death comes calling? You are a greater fool than I thought. Margaret is blinded by her affection for mortals. She does not see that entropy is the destiny of all things. If Eothas were wise, he would destroy everything. End life, end reincarnation, end death.
Yeah, we need to get rid of the gods.
Kith have had their chance.
The gods.
It is time to let silence reign.
As Rimmergon's words fade, the Pallid Knight returns.
He's just bitter.
She no longer towers over you, a giant even among the gods, but meets you at your height. She lets the arms crossed over her chest fall to her sides. She speaks to you openly, plainly, an expression almost like tenderness, turning up the corners of her lips.
Well, Watcher, you know where we stand. What do you believe?
I don't care. Everything that's happened, everything that will happen, it's the gods' fault. We're better off without you.
The gods were once Kith. Thousands of Kith from long ago, but Kith still. If we are diseased at our core, as you imply, then so too are you. Now the time has come for us to part, Watcher. I laid upon you a difficult duty. You will be free of it in time, but not now. You have work to do yet. You are no stranger to hard choices. You killed Theos, and when his soul was laid bare before you, you chose to return it to the wheel. You made his memory his penance.
I did.
Remember the strength it took to make that choice, and know that you alone may sway Aethys now. When you stand before him, choose your words carefully.
She claps her gauntleted hands together, and a sound like thunder rumbles through the room. As the floor crumbles and falls away beneath you, you hear the sound of a single bell ringing, and beneath it, the faintest whisper.
Consciousness returns in waves as the last of the machinery energy dissipates. The calming of the storm reveals the sprawling city around you, and like sand wiped from mosaic, you see the distant outline of Aethys, raising his fist in triumph and purpose.
It seems we're all still here.
Aloth glances around, rubbing his head gingerly.
Gods and darnation. My head.
Jody presses a palm to her brow as she struggles to her feet. Peering over the edge of the tower, you make out the distant shape amid the ruins below. A ragged ship has settled offshore where it lists at a drunken angle, the flag of the Principa drooping from the tilted mast. The empty deck tells you the surviving crew have long since boarded a skiff and rowed to the shore, which means you're no longer alone in Ukaizo. If ever was a place for a final standoff, it's Ukaizo. Okay. So we can't go there yet because we have to probably go down that one entrance. Okay. Oh, hold up.
So
Fall
now
back.
it comes. You think to steal my golden dream.
Dang it.
But I will not allow it to happen.
He embellishes his ecstatic bow as he draws arms against
My
you.
gratitude is yours for disabling the storms. It seems I did not require Rivan's ship to reach Ukaizo in the end.
Ratui's commandeering this land. Retreat or die.
In that, you are mistaken, Aimiko. Not for any reason would I leave the lost city of gold unplundered. If you do not believe that, you have never met a true pirate. The lost city of gold will be the foundation of the future of the Principe.
Principe.
And you will die now for the greater good. Gore, Skazita. Give my regards to the gods.
He tips his hat in farewell. Surprising gentle gesture considering his plans to murder you. Well, didn't plan for this to go this direction, but I wasn't paying full attention to where I was standing and where they were. So we will drop this. We'll drop this. And Senior Mins. Let's go.
First.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, now that your summon's done. This lightning. Ooh, dude, he's almost dead already. Cast lightning bolt on him.
Too fast for me.
Beyond seek. After him.
Too easy. Alright. Lightning bolt on this dude. I want you to come up here and do your ring of death. Or death ring. Alright, let's get Senior Mittens down. He's really hurt. Get your defense spell up. Let's put a fireball directly in these two. For you, go ahead and drop this poison cloud on them.
We can't afford another loss.
No one's lost. Go ahead and drop consecrated ground. Alright. Put an arrow in this one. Senior Mittens, charge him. Unbending trunk. Let's do another ring or death ring.
Got him. Let's go.
Oop, one of them exploded. Okay, second wind yourself. Laser this guy down.
Got to get free.
Okay, so there's a priest right there. I wonder if like there's no combat sound because I snuck in to this. Because you would assume there'd be some combat music for this fight.
What can I do you for? Time to separate the chaff.
Wasted effort.
Okay. Bronte's breastplate.
I'll take care of this.
Happy to all right.
See and not be seen.
No more sneaking about. Let's just go. Full bore. Muy Gwith.
You descend into the ancient winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the gods' great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine. As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Aethys. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms.
Wow. Okay, so this is where their bodies were.
An immense Angwithan machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Aethys's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries, the pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine.
That looks dope.
The pillar levels out near Aethys's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous, rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Aethys's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Hawana, yes, but also Kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
Ukaizo's corpse is beautiful, my god. This, its current state, is but one spoke in the ever-turning wheel of life and death, and so no less worthy than its incarnation at birth.
Jody waves her lantern overhead like a beacon to draw her god's attention.
But you seek to break that wheel. I beseech you, Gon, that when you do it right. Burn to ash every Audra root in hell so that it may never regrow. Let the darkness reign eternal.
It saddens me that the harvesting of souls in my name has brought you to this place, Shoti. But I am the cause, and I must take responsibility for it. I can only hope that after I am gone, you will see there is a brighter future for mortals, It is a future that you can help shape, even if you cannot see it now.
Aelas shakes his head, looking up at Aethys.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power.
I want to know what this black part is supposed to be. That might be where the widescreen breaks off. Oh, it happens on this side too.
But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel?
Only to bear witness. I think he needs to break the wheel, because it'll destroy the gods, and I think from the first game, it's quite obvious they're not good at what they do. They constantly come around and they mess things up. So I'm only here to bear witness.
You are welcome to do so. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes.
What could I know that you don't?
You followed me all this way, dodging an armada, navigating an impenetrable wall of storms, voyaging across uncharted seas, with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears, all the while trusting in the institutions of Kith to get you this far, and earning their trust in turn. Whatever else happens this day, that much is remarkable. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree. By relying on others and coming together in a time of crisis, you illustrate my point. The gods will witness you and question their assumptions about how responsible, empathetic, and sophisticated mortals can be. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation?
I wanted to prove Boudica wrong. She thinks mortal cooperation is destined to fail.
Boudica has been especially active since the downfall of her favorite operative. Have you ever considered that she is mentoring his replacement?
Working. His gaze lingers at Aloth for a moment before turning back to you. That's a troubling thought.
My brothers and sisters never act when the gains are strictly short-term. If Boudica's shadow has fallen upon you, that can only mean she recognizes your potential to further her ambition. I thank you for your perspective. Yours is not the only opinion that concerns me, but for the moment, it offers much to consider. All I ever wanted for mortals was growth, transformation. Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal. Some have forgotten themselves, giving into fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy. It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. Never forget that trust and coordination between mortals brought you to this place. Your future is built on a foundation of hope, and you have laid the first stone.
Before this is over, it's my turn to ask questions.
Ask. You are entitled to any answer that is mine to give.
You've had a millennia to do this. Why now?
For several reasons. My strength was diminished after the Godhammer bomb, and assuming this form took incredible effort. With so many vying for control of the Deadfire, I also saw a ripe opportunity for mortals to cast aside their differences and stand together as one. They have never been more powerful, more capable. Because of this, the gods must justify their importance or be proven obsolete.
I haven't forgiven you for Cadnua.
I apologize, Watcher. There is nothing I can do to restore the glory of your hard-won and poorly situated estate. What happened to Cadnua was not personal in nature. I would have occupied the statue even if it was buried beneath Defiance Bay. Given your perseverance, I know that a second home cannot be distant in your future. You have only to seek it out.
What happens when the wheel breaks?
The great work of the Inguithans falls to ruin. Reincarnation as we know it will end. Souls which currently await new life in the beyond will be born into the world as normal, but their numbers will not replenish. Anything that dies will tarry in the void of the in-between, awaiting the motion of a wheel that no longer turns. Once the beyond has emptied, every birth will be hollow-born. Other maladies of the soul may follow and plague those who linger in life. Unless mortals work together to carve a new path, the essence of life will be trapped in the netherworld. Gods will starve. Eora will grow silent and cold.
Why won't reincarnation just go back to how it was before the wheel?
When we tamed the cycle of reincarnation, we broke what had once functioned naturally and without intervention. The flow of essence will not normalize on its own. Essence will simply pool in the void of the in-between, never passing through Adra networks to the beyond. The dead will be left to wander in darkness, confusion, and sorrow.
Can anyone trust the gods after what you've done? Actually, how long until Eoria is devoid of life?
A generation or more. That much essence is already poised to flow into Eora. But unlike an hourglass, no amount of turning will compel the sand to reverse its course. Should you choose, you could lay down your burden and trust in your children's children to set matters right. That depends entirely on you. By your reckoning, there are still good years to come. By ours, time is short.
Boudica sees this as a test, one we're destined to fail.
Boudica is entitled to her opinion. If the intent of this test is to justify an uprising to come, that is more worrisome. The other gods must decide for themselves if mortals are ready to dictate their future. Should Boudica's tyranny prove the only alternative, mortals must prepare for a terrible conflict.
Okay.
Your perspective bridges eternity, Watcher. Many will look to you to mediate differences that could shake the very foundations of Eora.
That's all. What happens next?
I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it.
No sooner Aeth's words entered your mind than you heard one final dissonant ring of the chime within your... then silence. The knot that formed when the pallid night first addressed you in the beyond is now gone.
You are free now. As free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers,
priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you, but always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Aethys squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fist back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Aethys draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Audra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Aethys's body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Audra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Aethys does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted. The machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Aethys stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Aethys drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Audra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Aethys's arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes. As Aethys's shout echoes throughout the valley, your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. The great machine of Ukaizo has been destroyed. The wheel has been unmade. As Aethys's voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher, who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Aethys. Maras Nua's body finally goes still amidst the rubble of the Angwithan machines, yet it continues to glow. Priests and mystics have strange dreams of an island of eternal dawn at the eye of a storm, a port where the tide never flows out, a roadside tavern whose door leads only inward. As a watcher, you see what these dreamers cannot. The souls of the departed drifting toward the Audra Colossus and the twilit afterlife within. Whether it is a temporary haven or a permanent end will depend on what the Kith of Eora are able to accomplish on their own. The greatest hope seems to lie with the Rauataians, whose plans to excavate and rebuild the shattered machinery of reincarnation draws many of the engineers and weather mages who once irrigated and protected their rocky homeland.
Yeah, why are they trying to rebuild?
And while Maras Nua stands frozen over Ukaizo, the gods look on the labors of Kith, but they do not intervene. They watch and argue, wager and conjecture at how or whether mortals will solve the puzzle set before them. As Rauatai's engineers had predicted, turning off the machine at Andra's spire calms not only the storms of Andra's mortar, but also those in Rauatai. For the first time, citizens of the mainland admire the beauty of sea and sky, without wondering when they will unleash destruction. The changes to Rauatai, however, extend far beyond the weather. Rauataians had long forged their identities around enduring hardship and laboring together. But over time, as their cities and crops flourish under sunny skies, they find they need one another less. Inevitably, some lament this softer, easier life. Others point to national self-reliance, to burgeoning industry, to families that did not have to send their kin abroad, as evidence that the new ways are vastly preferable to the old. Besides, Rowatayans everywhere still share a purpose more urgent than any the world had ever known: reforging the cycle of reincarnation. The changes to Deadfire are just as significant. The Ranganui declares the archipelago an extension of his empire, and his administrators waste no time in making that true in deed, as well as in word. Rowatayan gunships patrol Deadfire, hunting down pirates and smugglers, including the remaining Principe. After their defeat at Andra's Mortar, the pirate nation stands no chance against the organized might of Rawatai. As Rowatayan farmers, merchants, and laborers move to the archipelago, there is little room and less patience for the Valian Trading Company. The Ranganui soon forces the Valian Trading Company to surrender its holdings in Deadfire, straining relations with the republics. Rawatai knits its new archipelago together with all the tools of government and infrastructure. New ports spring up across Deadfire, guarded with sturdy Rowatayan bronze and run with dispassionate Rowatayan efficiency. Most Huana remain, even as their homeland changes around them. Their huts and lodges are cleared to make way for towns of stone and brick. The walls that are built to protect them also cut them off from the freedom of the open sea. Those Huana who trade caste and prize share for Rowatayan unity and striving prosper. Others mourn the passing of their queen and see the end of their way of life as a precursor of the doom of Aora. As Rowatayan ships close on Port Mage, Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa unite their forces in resistance. Rawatai eventually prevails, but only after a long and costly campaign. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. While Hazanui Karu directs her fleet from Ukaizo, Atsura stays behind to manage Nekataka. Under his oversight, sturdy walls and artillery batteries rise to protect the city. Ships bearing settlers from Rawatai and staple goods from the archipelago churn the waters of Queensbirth. And despite the vacancies at Kahanga Palace, Atsura retains his simple quarters in the Brass Citadel. The Royal Deadfire Company evacuates and raises the gullet, hoping to lift the Raparu out of squalor and eradicate the criminal elements. They certainly rid Nekataka of an eyesore, though the larger problems of crime and poverty prove harder to solve.
As always.
With Skia Relafis's essence still empowering the Watershapers Guild, the practice of water shaping grows and flourishes in Nekataka, and its practitioners rise in prestige. They install conveyors in the falls that run through the city and craft sculptures for every street and plaza. Thus, the Watershapers Guild becomes a power in its own right in the city of Nekataka. Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars. Plagued with nightmares and haunted by the deaths at Hesango, Letharn begins questioning his faith in Aethys. At first, his fellow Dawnstars chide him, but that changes as word of Aethys's deeds at Ukaizo spreads. After all, what business have they worshipping a god who denied his own legitimacy? The children of the Dawnstars respond to Aethys's sacrifice by taking up the lanterns and sickles of the Harvesters of Gone. They become pilgrims of essence, gathering souls across Aora and ferrying them to the haven within the Adra Colossus. Others will repair or rebuild the wheel one day. In the meantime, the Dawnstars will care for the souls of the dead.
So it's basically the gods have kind of given up the wheel, and now it's the mortals, like the mortal kith, to kind of put it all back together. Because, like, what Aethys was saying at the end was that, like, there was the natural cycle before they took over the natural cycle, and then they messed up the natural cycle. So he wanted to take away the gods' powers in order to allow the Kith to regain that power, which is interesting. I don't know if
With the
cycle
Adra
is
Hokako destroyed
that
and
positive.
hopes of a Valian outpost dashed, the tribes resolved to leave Tikawara behind. Small and mobile, they move amongst the Kuaorakuhu Islands, where they escape the notice of larger powers. Ships continue to disappear at the southeastern fringe of the archipelago, and stories circulate of a colony of vampires and gulls preying on their crews. The Hazanui soon sends the Rukapa, who end the horrors of Splintered Reef. The dragon, Neraskirlas, no longer passes between Aora and the White Void, and the dead flow slowly breaks apart, exposing the temple long frozen within. Under Halfjorn's guidance, the Harbingers of Dusk resettle within Remergon's temple, vowing to forever protect it from the defiling touch of outsiders. Over time, the group becomes increasingly reclusive and fanatical, attacking any who dare approach their holy site.
Ooh, interesting. You know, it's the vampire thing. I kind of feel like I missed that whole quest line.
The chime of Remergond continues to pulse coldly within your breast. Though the beast of winter rarely intrudes upon you, the chill within your soul promises that you will return to his dominion in the end. Utterly corrupted by the tooth of Tawamawai, the Adra at the primal island of Kazuwari continues to remain separated from the greater beyond. As increasingly anguished spirits roam the island in search of essence, blights form with greater frequency. The wildlife suffers, and the jungle thins as Kazuwari slowly dies. Weakened by the events at the island, Galawain retreats further from the intrigues of the gods. Rumors spread of his displeasure, as those godlikes touched by the father of monsters begin dying mysteriously across the whole of Aora. The faces of the hunt continue to rule the Crucible and Galawain's, or rather, Tawamawai's name. The trials summoned by the statue grow deadlier with each season, until only those rare few willing to brave the gravest of dangers seek out the bloody ordeals of Kazuwari. Like the other souls following in your wake, Muatu eventually yearns to move on to the beyond and the wheel. Stymied by Aethys' actions, however, he settles on returning to Kazuwari, where he joins the choir of souls that echo throughout the Crucible. Slain by your hand, the Titan of Wal poses little further threat to Aora. As the corpse decays, it putrefies into a massive nest of hungry fungal monstrosities. Vessels that anchor off the shores of the Black Isles tend to go missing, only to turn up shipwrecked months or even years later against distant shores. With time, the body collapses upon itself, and the Black Isles finally implode. Though your adventures alter the destiny of Aora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed in ways both big and small.
I do like this somewhat like mation of what's going on.
Back from Ukaizo, Adair finds himself disillusioned with all gods, his own above all.
Yeah, we didn't do too much with him.
Where the gods have touched Deadfire, he sees only destruction, loss, and emptiness. He casts off all symbols of Aethys, and even begins refusing to use his name. Ultimately, he chooses to remain with you on the Defiant, knowing if any mortal is to have the final word in a conflict with the gods, it will be the Watcher of Cadnua. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. But as you all travel, Adair grows increasingly uncomfortable with her attempts to engender his affection, until he finally takes her aside and sets her straight. He's not interested in a sheltered, overzealous little girl, he explains in so many words. After that, Shodi turns a cold shoulder to him, sometimes forgetting to heal him in the chaos of battle. Or so she claims. Plagued by constant nightmares and hallucinations, Shodi becomes increasingly disassociated from reality. Meanwhile, her power continues to grow with every soul she harvests. You start to notice sliced up animal corpses everywhere you two travel. But when confronted about it, Shodi stomps her feet and fiercely denies any wrongdoing.
Dude, she did go crazy.
Then, one night, Shodi wakes, but never leaves the nightmare. Shivering uncontrollably, she packs up her belongings and slips away into the darkness, murmuring that she must return to the Temple of Gon in order to fulfill her purpose to her god. But she never reaches the temple. None of the Dawn Stars know what's become of her, aside from disturbing rumors of a harvester ravaging the southeastern islands in the Deadfire, leaving a trail of blood in her wake.
Good lord.
Aloth renews his commitment to transforming the Leaden Key from a tool of secrecy and oppression into a watchdog organization. With the wheel broken, he reasons the world will need wise and responsible leadership more than ever. It is a lofty goal, and one he does not expect to finish in his lifetime. But if there's one thing he's learned from the Watcher, it's that a single person can change the world.
I don't know what happened with Jodie. She just lost it. I guess I didn't choose the right
Seraphin
things.
seems little impacted by your journey. Always knew the gods were larger than me, he tells you, on the evening he decides to part from your company. He's too long put aside those he cares most for. He confesses over a bottle of rum, and he's got leagues to sail to make it right. The following morning, he's gone, leaving only a crude stick figure rendering of Aethys, scrawled into the hull to mark his passage. Pleased with the Navy's conduct throughout the Deadfire campaign, Maya returns to active duty. She can find a free drink and a sharp salute anywhere she goes in Rauatayan territory. In recognition of her performance, the Navy attempts to give Maya less strenuous work. She flatly refuses, throwing herself into the fray whenever she can. Her rifle never has time to cool. Maya's part in the conquest of Ukaizo brings fame and fortune to the Rua family. Officers salute her in passing, and a row of medals decorate the breast of her uniform. Her parents and siblings are paraded between the great houses of Rauatai for nightly dinners and celebrations. She has a hero's welcome in her future. She looks forward to seeing her brother again. So does Ashiza. Takehu never intended to grasp at the destiny his coming foretold, but he finds himself doing just that. He sails from island to island as an emissary from the gods to the Huana people. The tribes welcome his message and use it to bridge their traditions across the archipelago. Huana unity has never been stronger. With Ngati's covenant firmly in mind, Takehu feels confident enough to reshape the very Deadfire. He bids you farewell, suggesting that you seek your next adventure in a brothel or tavern, where consequences begin and end at the front door. He sounds eager to leave old conflicts in the past. Your pursuit of Aethys and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You hope for calm weather.
Hmm. So things turned out pretty well. You know, except for Jody. Went kind of crazy. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. And here come the credits. Dope. Okay, so that is my playthrough of Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire and the DLC content. So overall, I think the game's awesome. I think this is one of the best CRPGs out there that I've played. I think it's great. There's so much good content in this game, and I barely touched. Well, I'm sure I got pretty deep into it, but there's a crap ton more out there that I could delve into. The replayability's there. I mean, I could see myself coming back to this game and trying a different campaign out, trying to go with a different group. Definitely have a build in mind that I would go with for the harder stuff. The first DLC I liked, The Beast of Winter, I liked. I think all of it was good. I liked the story. I liked the balance. It was a little difficult, but you know, it was all right. Seeker Slayer Survivor. I don't know. I thought it was okay. It was like a little light on story. Some of the fights started getting a little frustrating in there. The arena fights, because most of this game is based like you can always pull into like an alleyway or a doorway. That's kind of how I built my party. Very like light on the front end and very heavy on the back end. Paid for it in that DLC. And then the Forgotten Sanctum. Man, there were some mechanics in there that just got under my skin. Monks have always been a pain in the ass in this game. That's great that I would have had to go at them, but then the mind control in this game, I don't like that mechanic in this game, especially in this. And like when you have potions that only last 45 seconds or buffs that last less than, but you have a spell that is going throughout the full fight, I find that kind of obnoxious, in my opinion. I didn't like that at all. The story is pretty interesting. I kind of like the environment. So when I wasn't having to deal with those guys, like, yeah, it's okay. But it kind of broke me in a way, and it made me lower the difficulty just to enjoy it. And that kind of sucked. But yeah, it was okay. But as far as like the main core game outside of the DLCs, I really liked it. You know, putting all the DLCs aside, I liked a lot of the game. There were some frustrating fights in there. There were some difficult fights in there, but once you started like, you know, moving along, getting your party together, I thought it was pretty good. Your decisions being so consequential to the story is awesome. The fact that my decisions from the previous game were consequential to this story is awesome. I think it was really well done. And then it really gives you like the choice of like how you kind of want to define the world you're in. And I try to stick with my character being like a little bit stoic. I guess in the other one he wasn't as stoic, but that's kind of like the character like he became in this one, the Stoic Ranger. We did ended up choosing the side of the Deadfire, so I'm not sure how aligned that was. It's tough to say, but I think yeah, overall I like the combat. I do like the engine behind this. I feel like the upgrades, like, you know, without the overall health and stamina balance thing that they had in the last one, just having your health all together and then just like 3 knocks or 4 knocks equals death, I like that. I think that was a good part of the mechanic. Yeah, everything else just it kind of worked together. I do kind of wish they would do something with the potions. Potions are kind of useless, especially because you can't drink them most of the time in your fights. You get interrupted or whatever happens. I don't know what's going on with the potion thing. Most games, when you have potions, they're like an instant drink thing. But I guess in this game, someone comes and knocks it out of your hands, which I guess that's a thing. But it kind of made potions and crafting potions pretty useless. And I invested Jody in it pretty early because I thought, you know, I could take advantage of it, but there was no advantage to be taken. So that was kind of obnoxious. So if you want to build like a Witcher style character where you could drink potions and just be strong through the battle, you can't do that because they can't drink the potions. Yeah, the ship combat was all right. I, I, I don't think I invested enough. I should say, I don't think I invested enough time into it to make it as fun as it could be. Uh, I didn't have anything besides the starting ship and then the submarine, but like, you know, getting in a junk and then maybe going around fighting more on the seas could have been better. But I mean, it was okay. I just ended up just getting into base and fighting them ship to ship, like crew to crew. That always just seemed to be the most efficient way of doing it. I'm sure there's others. There's a lot of islands I didn't even touch or explore. I kind of wish the bounty system like had pushed me into more of those things, and they might have, but I kind of quit going on the bounties. I think the amount of time I spent on it was good. I was ready to end the game when I did. I've got about 90 hours in, you know, including the DLC. So that's a good time for a game. I'm ready to move on to other stuff. I don't think I was bored of it, but I was ready to move on. And I think the DLC kind of broke me a little bit too. Starting with Seeker's Slayer Survivor. Other than that, I mean, like, if you like CRPGs, definitely a game to pick up. I would just recommend this game, period. This is, like, even if you've thought about CRPGs, or you like RPGs, or you like a good story, I would say get into this one. The only problem is you have to play the first one, Pillars of Eternity, to get, like, the full experience of this world. Which is, I think, is a pretty good title as well. I think they did a good job with both of these. I definitely invested in the universe. I kind of want to know more. I kind of want to know what happens next. Like, if they ever make another game, I'm 100% buying it, day oneing it. You know, or you know, if they do the Buller Gates thing where they have like beta forever, I'm gonna wait until they finish it. But I will play it. I think this is, you know, really well made. I like it. I like the voice acting, the music when it worked. I liked. Um, it was good. I like the pacing of the main game. I think was fantastic. I think they did a fantastic job. This was a really good game. You know, and if I was 100%er, I could definitely see myself getting deeper into it. But this isn't a game that I would necessarily 100%. I will probably play this again in the future, though. I'll definitely play this one more time at least. It's got me excited for the RPG coming out, though. It's going to be interesting, and if it's in this world, there's a lot to play with in this world, and I couldn't be more excited about it. To the point where I immediately made excitement, because in a world of, you know, Cyberpunk and Outriders, where I get a little hyped, but like I have to contain that hype because we know, yeah. I always walk into games with like moderated expectations, not necessarily low, but some studios have found a way to get under that. Yeah, I mean, it's really well made. Studio is this again? I'm not just saying studio. Let's see. Obsidian Entertainment. Yep. Okay. Gotta remember that. Obsidian. Yeah, I think they did a great job. Fantastic job. Red Cerberus 2. I'm not sure who Red Cerberus is or how much they add into this, but between the two devs groups, fantastic game. Definitely a game worth playing. I am gonna go AFK for a second while the credits roll, but I will be right back afterwards. Okay, I'll probably speed these up. But cool. Good stuff. It was a good game. Yeah, and I want to thank everyone, like all of you who've been watching the VODs, all the people that have stopped by, said hello, all the people who are watching these videos on YouTube. I do appreciate that. It's fun to make the content. I'm glad people are enjoying it or watching it at least. And definitely thanks for hanging in there while I moved and I've started trying to regulate my schedule here. It's been an interesting experience, but here we are, and I've gotten back to a more regular schedule. I've cut some of my other activities aside, so like I should be streaming again. I'll do better at posting on Twitter, and I'm gonna start using the announcements in my Discord as well. If like I'm going to be either super late to my regular start time of around 7 or 8 p.m. or I'm not going to stream at all. I'll be more consistent with putting that up there. But yeah, I'll have this cut up and put up on YouTube tomorrow. I'm actually gonna call it for tonight, even though I don't work tomorrow. It's 12:15. Okay, it's way later than I thought. Yeah, I'm gonna call it for tonight, and I don't have work tomorrow because I've got my COVID shot, so I will probably be on pretty early as long as I don't get my butt kicked by it, and we will go ahead and start on Rise and Shine, which is the next game on the short list. I know that's a shorter game. We'll play that through. I'm kind of done for right now with Outriders. Monster Hunter Rise, I'll jump into every once in a while, and then yeah, we'll pick up where I left off in the Master Chief Collection. Can't remember what game that was, but it was like the pre. It came out later than the original Halo, but it was before the Halo game. What game was that? Halo Reach. Yeah, it came out in 2010, but it was supposed to be before Halo. I kind of am tepid about Halo Reach. I'm just gonna get through it. If I do start recording Halo videos and putting them on YouTube, it'll start with Combat Evolved, and then we'll go 2, 3, and then through the collection. I'm probably going to break that up. I'm probably not going to do that all in one stretch, and so we can get on to Celeste and then Gates of Nowhere. I want to start revisiting the Assassin's Creed and all of that. I might kick a VR game back up into there a little bit higher than the Room VR. There might be another one higher than that. Anyways, yeah, I want to get this room set up for VR and start playing some of that stuff. But as for now, that's going to be me for tonight. I'm TGas. I'm out. Once again, thanks everyone for watching. See y'all tomorrow.